U.S. President Donald Trump has paused duties on low-cost packages from China, giving the U.S. Commerce Department time to find workable solutions. Health authorities are urging Hongkongers to get the flu jab after 75% of adult influenza fatalities were not vaccinated. And Hong Kong is set to record its coldest day of the winter so far tomorrow, with the Observatory forecasting a low temperature of 9 degrees Celsius. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Jeremy Zhu. U.S. President Donald Trump has suspended tariffs on small packages from China after his sudden order ending duty-free treatment for shipments worth less than $800, or the so-called de minimis, had left American shoppers as well as customs and postal services overwhelmed. Best Learn reports.
U.S. Postal Service temporarily stopped accepting packages from the mainland and Hong Kong as a result of an executive order signed by President Donald Trump on Tuesday to scrap the de minimis on Chinese imports, only to reverse course in less than a day. However, a revised order, signed Wednesday but made public on Friday, delays the tariffs until the Commerce Department can confirm procedures and systems are in place to process them and collect tariff revenue. No further information about when the revoke of the minimis will come into effect again. The eventual cancellation of the minimis would mean the more than 1 billion low-cost e-commerce packages arriving annually in the U.S. with goods coming directly from China must switch to an entry process that requires additional information and duties, adding time and cost. The rapid change had led to more than 1 million packages piling up at New York's JFK airport alone. Citing resources, Reuters reported that U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which is responsible for screening e-commerce packages and collecting duties on them, held a meeting on Thursday with logistics professionals to discuss the status of the piled-up packages, and that Customs had begun releasing packages it was holding at the JFK airport, which has been taking in about 60 million de minimis e-commerce packages annually. Best Learn Cable News.
Amid the escalation of the trade war between China and the United States, business leaders in the city saw mounting uncertainties, with small and medium enterprises facing more pressure. Evelyn Bai reports.
With the United States imposing a 10% tariff on Chinese goods, including those from Hong Kong, Chairman of the Hong Kong Shippers Council Willie Lin said, while many local manufacturers have been moving their production chains abroad for years, small and medium enterprises will face bigger challenges due to limited manpower and capital to set up their factories in locations outside mainland China. Lin cautioned that the U.S. got a lot of weapons and tools on hand to disrupt Hong Kong businesses, even those companies with production lines abroad, including the use of laws or regulations to affect their certificate of origin. Meanwhile, lawmaker and executive councillor Chen King-por projected that the difficult days could last for several years, though he believes that there will be more countries wanting to do business with China, as the U.S. is always changing its policies, while China remains a stable partner. Separately, financial sector lawmaker Ronick Chen said the tariff tit-for-tat will likely lead to quicker inflation, further slowing down the pace of Federal Reserve's rate cuts, which will be subsequently affect Hong Kong's asset and property markets. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
1 month into the city's flu season, the Department of Health noticed an upward trend of influenza activity, which peaked on Wednesday. The department urged residents to get flu jabs as soon as possible, as flu activity is expected to rise further. Evelyn Bai again.
Since this flu season started in the second week of January, the Department of Health had recorded over 240 severe flu cases, including 137 fatalities, with 75% of the deceased having not received the vaccine. Director of Health Ronald Lam said they cannot confirm how and when the flu activity will reach its peak.
The reason being we are going to resume, the schools are going to resume classes after the holidays. So there's still possibility that there will be further transmission of flu in the community.
He added that, for now, nearly 80% of the elderly in residential care homes are vaccinated, but only half of the people aged 65 and above have received flu jabs. The health chief noted that for infants and young children aged 6 months to 2 years, the vaccination rate is only 21%. Despite being slightly higher than last year, there is still significant room for improvement. Therefore, all maternal and child health centers will now allow parents of children in this age group to book appointments for flu jabs online. Last month, the authority publicly named more than 160 schools for refusing to arrange on-campus influenza vaccinations for pupils.
學校都好了解到家長嘅需要嘅。
Edwin Tsui, controller of the Center for Health Protection, said the schools have agreed to participate after recognizing parents' needs. As of today, 98% of kindergartens, childcare centers, primary schools and secondary schools have joined the scheme, he added. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
As data show that the vaccination rate for flu is not ideal, with only about half of the high-risk individuals getting the shots, health experts have advised the authorities to focus on strengthening public education rather than making the shots free for everyone. Speaking to iCable News, David Hui, chair professor of respiratory medicine at the Chinese University, said the low vaccination rates are not due to cost, as the inactivated flu vaccine is affordable. Instead, he attributed it to public underestimation of flu risks and concerns over possible side effects, which he emphasized are mild. Currently, the government provides free vaccines for children aged 6 months to 18 years and those over 50. Hui opposes expanding free vaccines to all, citing potential wastage of public funds. He stressed the need for better public education and easier access to vaccinations. Hongkongers are urged to keep themselves warm as the cold weather warning is still in place. The mercury in urban areas dropping to around 11 degrees Celsius this morning provided no excuses for early joggers. Under the influence of a strong winter monsoon affecting the region, the weather had been persistently cold, especially over inland areas in the morning and at night. Tomorrow's temperatures will range from 10 to 16 degrees, while the mercury is expected to gradually climb by the middle of next week. The Department of Health has advised the elderly and those with chronic illnesses to seek medical attention promptly if they feel unwell. National Security Police charged a 26-year-old man with perverting the course of justice. The case was mentioned at Eastern Court this morning. The defendant, who identifies as a taxi driver, was arrested by police on Thursday. He has been provisionally charged with doing an act or a series of acts tending and intended to pervert the course of public justice. According to the case details, the defendant is alleged to have rented a hotel room in Chun Wan between October 2020 and July 2022 to harbor 4 individuals involved in anti-extradition bill protests. The magistrate, citing the seriousness of the allegations and the potential risk of the defendant fleeing with assistance from others, denied bail. The case has been adjourned until May 6th for further proceedings. Chief Executive John Lee, currently on a visit in Harbin, where the Asian Winter Games is held, engaged with the Hong Kong team to gather insights for the national games set to be held in the Greater Bay Area later this year. The city leader met with Hong Kong athletes, team leaders and coaches at the Athletes Village for the ice sports competitions, praising their excellent physical and mental condition. He shared on social media that the trip allowed him to learn about the village's operations and gain valuable experience. He expressed confidence that Hong Kong, alongside Guangdong and Macau, will provide top-quality accommodation and support for athletes during the 15th National Games. This year, Hong Kong sent a record-breaking team of over 70 athletes to the Winter Games. The city chief had also watched speed skating events, meeting with team members afterwards to commend their performances and dedication. U.S. President Donald Trump is revoking his predecessor Joe Biden's security clearance by denying the former leader's access to intelligence briefings. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump wrote there is no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Biden had done the same 4 years ago when he took over from Trump, marking the first time an ex-president had ever been denied such information. Trump has revoked the security clearance of dozens of former intelligence officials whom he has accused of meddling in the 2020 presidential election, which went in Biden's favor. Japan and the United States have further reaffirmed their ties, strengthening their vital economic relationship. Meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump, Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba addressed the strategic challenges faced by both countries. Sachin Kadvi reports.
Trump welcomed Ishiba to the White House for their first face-to-face talks, making the Japanese Prime Minister the first Asian leader to visit Washington since Trump took office last month. One of the big sticking points in U.S.-Japan ties recently was the acquisition of U.S. steel by Japan's Nippon Steel. The attempted takeover of the Pennsylvania-based company by the Japanese firm was blocked by Trump's predecessor Joe Biden on national security grounds.
They're doing it as an investment, no longer a purchase.
Okay.
I didn't want it purchased, but investment I love. And they're going to do a big investment, subject to getting the deal done.
But after meeting with Ishiba, Trump said Nippon Steel will invest heavily in U.S. Steel rather than purchase the company. Acknowledging the gesture, Ishiba said it will be a reciprocal deal which will be mutually beneficial. Officials from both sides said the main purpose of the visit, however, was to forge a personal bond with Trump, who had a warm relationship with late Japanese Premier Shinzo Abe. On a lighter note, Ishiba said he was excited to see Trump as a celebrity on television who has a very strong personality, but actually he was very sincere in person. Sachin Katwi, Cable News.
Onto the weather now. An intense winter monsoon will continue to bring cold weather to the coast of southern China, mainly fine and dry with a minimum temperature of around 10 degrees. Temperatures will rise gradually in the following couple of days. That's our news tonight. I'm Jeremy Zhu. Thanks for watching and good night.